Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, of course, continuing on with the Lion King movie week, and, well, it's obvious what I'm reviewing next. Yes, from 1998, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Yes, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. The first Lion King sequel, well, because this being the first of the two Lion King sequels, yeah, because for there only being two sequels to The Lion King, and, well, coming straight from the era of the direct-to-DVD/video Disney sequels, that whole thing, the first things I've got to say on Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Well, when I watched this film, when I was little, and any of you like me, and especially, 2000s babies, having the DVDs of The Lion King when they were re-released, on DVD and with the 2-disc special edition and such, the bonus features, and of course Lion King 2, I don't know, because I guess at first I wasn't really into Lion King 2. Not to say I didn't hate it, but it's just, the different vibe and feel to Lion King 2. Don't you agree? I mean, because, yeah, looking at all three of the Lion King films, they do have, different vibes and feels to them. Yeah. So for Lion King 2, I don't know. At first, I wasn't really into it. I mean, I liked it, I enjoyed it, and rewatching it, having rewatched it at times, and even, since I knew I was going to review this, and rewatching a little of it, well, I think, how I feel towards it, has changed, but, I mean, I really don't know how to describe it, but let's just say, it's not really like my favorite of the Lion King films, okay? Again, rest assured that I don't hate it. I enjoy it. It's really good, but it's not my favorite of the Lion King films. We all have our favorite of the Lion King films, don't we? And, even say the live-action Lion King films, because, that the same goes for them, because they are Lion King still. But yeah. But, with what the story for Lion King 2 had to offer, and with some new characters that step in, the direction it was taking, and with great voice acting in this, yeah, just overall, it was pretty good. Not bad at all. Yeah, I mean, even especially because, with some of the characters that are in this, and the main antagonist, oh yeah. Yeah, but just overall, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, it is what it is, and, how I feel towards it, while, it's, how I feel about it has changed, in a good way, but, again, it's not one of my favorites in the Lion King films. You get my point. But anyways, okay, so, as always, read the description / the story. The daughter of Simba and Nala, a heiress of all the empire, befriends the eldest son of Scar, and together they will try to reunite the two herds. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah. So, again, this being one of those direct-to-video / DVD Disney sequels, and ever since, Return of Jafar and from there on, Lion King seemed like, a pretty good pick, for there to be a sequel and such, and it seems as though that Lion King being one of those Disney franchises where, the story could technically continue, and it did, because with one sequel taking place after the events of the first Lion King, and a sidequel taking place before and after the events of the first Lion King film. Yeah. But yeah, and also, we've had a few Lion King shows, mainly just 2. You know what they are, so yeah. But yeah, so getting into the Lion King 2 itself, Simba's Pride, well, yeah, because, again, this taking place after the events of the first Lion King film, And I think especially what some people don't understand and realize is that it's not taking place like right after Simba became king of the Pride Lands and, the Pride Rock and such. Well, especially we have the Lion Guard establishing that clearly because the cub that Rafiki rose, and right as the first Lion King film ended, well, surely that's not whom we see at the start of Lion King 2, right? Again, it's thanks to the Lion Guard, because clearly that was Kion. So, the opening to this, because we have Kiara, a young newborn cub Kiara, and the presentation of Kiara happens, and one of the first song numbers that we get, being He Lives in You, which, by the way, being a part of the Broadway show of The Lion King. Yeah. And how, this being a part of Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, fits very well. Yeah. So, all the animals coming together, and Mufasa watching from above, yeah, and that, speck of, grass or whatever that blows, which is supposed to be Mufasa, blowing around, say, Rafiki, Kiara, Simba, Nala, yeah. And then when it, blows around the animals and they bow to the late Mufasa, yeah. And, the ceremony happening, / the presentation of Kiara, and Timon and Pumbaa, they technically get the first lines of the film. And, Timon and Pumbaa, once again, being voiced by good old Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella, talking about how it's gonna feel like the old days with them and young Simba hanging out and having some fun with this little guy, learning how to belch and so on. And Rafiki corrects them that the newborn cub is not a guy, it is a girl. And, Timon's like, oh, girl? Oy! Because, oh, great, because how, it's not a guy, because what's gonna happen with them and, trying to have fun with a little girl, just, and how they react, and they both collapse, and right as they collapse and hit the ground, that's when, boom, we get our opening logo, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and time has passed just a little, and Kiara growing just a little, and young Kiara being voiced by Michelle Horn. Young Kiara is excited to go out and have some fun, but Simba, and Simba once again being voiced by Matthew Broderick, is not really sure about this, and he's being very protective. Especially this is after the events of the first Lion King. And yeah, I'm sure some of you probably, would feel the same way, because I know this, and I couldn't agree more, because Simba, at times in Lion King 2, he can be quite a handful, yeah. But that's not to say there aren't any good moments with Simba. There is, but man, most of the time, Simba being an overprotective father and kind of not doing his duties right as being king, you know what I mean? Especially later on in the film. But yeah, so Simba he's not sure about this and telling a young Kiara that accidents can happen and so on, but Kiara is assuring her daddy that she can do this and she'll be alright, and Nala stepping in, and Nala once again being voiced by Moira Kelly, and, them giving the heads up for Kiara and such, and the mentioning of some outsiders, and Zazu stepping in too. And Zazu, this time, being voiced by Edward Hebert, if I'm saying the last name right. He'd probably be best known for being in Frasier. But he's done a lot more than just say Frasier. I do remember him making an appearance in The Muppets Wizard of Oz, yeah. So instead of Rowan Atkinson, I assume, he just wasn't available to reprise the voice role of Zazu. This time, Edward Hebert steps in. And you know what? Edward does pretty good at whenever he had voiced Zazu, yeah. And I'm sure you guys would think so too, yeah. So again, a mentioning of the outsiders and such, and, Kiara has to stay in the Pride Lands and away from the Outlands, yeah. And Nala mentioning to Simba about, the fact that Kiara reminds him a lot of him. Yeah, because we know what young Simba was like, and the dangers that not only he, but getting Nala involved as well, obviously, because, well, say, the elephant graveyard. So, yeah. And Nala assuring Simba that she will be fine. And besides, Kiara would know best, right? Yeah. And, well, Simba, he turns to Timon and Pumbaa, asking them to watch over Kiara, keep an eye on her and such, and so on, yeah. Yeah, so, and when coming back to Kiara, she's chasing a butterfly, and then she stumbles upon right where the Outlands are, and her being curious what is out there, and Timon and Pumbaa sneaking up to her through the grass, and, she turns and sees them, and she slips and falls into a puddle of water, and Pumbaa going after her because, she might have drowned or something. And how is Timon going to explain this to Simba? Because, Timon having a moment to himself, geez, Simba, well, you asked us to, watch over Kiara, and this it's so funny. And Pumbaa can't see Kiara, but he's on top of Kiara, and she's going to drown in the water, and yeah. And the moment that they all three of them have, and kind of getting on Kiara's nerves. And then, when at one point Timon and Pumbaa stumble upon some grubs, something to eat, and, wanting Kiara to give them a try, and just, she finds them gross, yeah. Young Simba felt that way too, until he tried one of them, and now, because being like Timon and Pumbaa, loving grubs, yeah. But Kiara, probably not so much. And, well, there's a moment between Timon and Pumbaa, because they start to argue about the certain tastes they like with grubs. Pumbaa likes the slimy taste, while Pumbaa likes the slimy taste, while Timon likes the crunchy, slimy, crunchy, slimy, crunchy. And they get distracted by arguing with one another, and Kiara, she sneaks off and getting close to the Outlands. And she stumbles upon one of them living in the Outlands, young Kovu. Young Kovu being voiced by young Ryan O'Donoghue. I think I'm pronouncing that right, yeah. And, well, they kind of slowly but surely hit it off a little, and, Kiara kind of dodging, Kovu just just, what are you doing, asks young Kovu. Yeah, and, young Kovu kind of, teasing Kiara about her daddy, running the Pride Lands and such. And young Kovu saying to young Kiara that he can look after himself and such. Or could he? Because, well, they get into a situation, both of them, with crocodiles. And yeah, that sequence where they're dodging and, getting away from the crocodiles, almost about to get eaten by the crocodiles, when ultimately, yeah, they survive and they get up top. And yeah, they've escaped from the crocodiles, almost getting eaten. And even when Kiara... from each of them saving one another and such, yeah. And Kiara starts to really like Kovu and how brave he is, yeah. And just kind of flirting with him a little and such. And little do they know that in the grass fields where they are, because, well, someone is spying on them. And presumably, obviously, that's Kovu's mother, yeah. And Kiara trying to get Kovu to play, tag, you're it, tag, you're it. But all of that is interrupted when, well, Simba shows up, and, well, out pops Kovu's mother, which being the main antagonist, Zira, being voiced by the late legendary Suzanne Plagette. Forgive me, because I'm probably mispronouncing her last name, but and you know me sometimes, but yeah, great actress, and not to mention, she has been in a couple of other Disney materials, I can think of most notably that she was in 2 live-action Disney films, Blackbeard's Ghost, and the sequel to The Shaggy Dog, yeah, with Dean Jones, yeah, and coincidentally, because being in 2 live-action films, I think for that matter, no, because... I think she was also in The Ugly Dutch. Yeah, I believe so, yeah, because working alongside with Dean Jones a handful of times, doing some live-action Disney films, but yeah. And let's not forget, being in one of Bob Newhart's earliest shows, and in another show that Bob Newhart was in, where, yeah, that famous last sequence in the final episode, you know what I'm talking about, yeah, so... Anyways, so yeah, a little confrontation between Zira, Simba, and when the other Pride Land lions pop up, one of them being Nala, of course, as well as Timon and Pumbaa. And, Zira, Simba, and, Nala, Zira, and then Timon and Pumbaa, and, well, Timon, Timon, Pumbaa. Now that we all know each other and such, get out of our Pride Lands! Your Pride Lands, says Zira. Well, technically, Timon and Pumbaa having a huge part of the Pride Lands and, well, Pride Rock and such, being a big part of the Pride Rock family, and it's obvious, yeah. Anyways, and, well, we learn that Zira actually, being very loyal to the late Scar and telling Simba that the lands belong to Scar, but no, of course, they rightfully so belong to Simba. And we also learn, and, through Simba, what he says to Zira, that, Simba had banished Zira as well as a handful of lions that surprisingly, not just Zira, but a handful of lions actually followed and respected Scar's loyalties and such when he was taking over the Pride Lands. Even though, despite the fact that we never saw that in the first Lion King film, nor the live action, for that matter. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. And, well, I mean, when it came to the first Lion King film, how were they supposed to know at that time that, there would be a sequel, and with the antagonist of that, just, you get the point. But anyways, so overall, because we learned that, Zira and a handful of lions, they followed in Scar's loyalties, and there was a relationship that happened between Zira and Scar. Little did we know, and with the first film. But yeah, after Scar was defeated and he was gone, and when Simba took over, yeah, that's when he banished all of those lions, not under his leadership, and instead Scar's. And Zira pointing out to Simba about Kovu being the last born, and Scar saw some potential for young Kovu, wanting Kovu to follow in his paw prints, and technically, Scar isn't really the father of Kovu, not biologically or anything like that, but he took Kovu in as his own, yeah, and knew that and felt that Kovu would be the next in line after he would be. But, of course, yeah, that not happening, and so on, yeah. And, yeah, just Simba not liking this, and Zira just saying, like, if you want your flesh and blood and such, whatever, and offering Simba to take in Kovu, but Simba's not having it, and, you take your cub and get out of here. We're finished. And Zira, one last thing she says to Simba, "Oh no, Simba, we've only just begun." And yeah, clearly later on, she has something planned up her paws. Best way to put it, but yeah, not sleeves, paws. And, well, they all go their separate ways, and, very calmly and softly, each Kiara and Kovu saying bye to one another as, they're both being taken back to where they are. And, by the way, because there's a whole Romeo and Juliet thing that happens in Lion King 2, and that's pretty much what it is, yeah. So after that, everybody's returned back into the Pride Lands and where Pride Rock is. Simba has a talk with young Kiara on, what could have happened to her and such, and, telling Kiara that, one day when he's not here, well, she would have to take over and be queen of the Pride Lands and the whole thing of the circle of life and such, but Kiara, she's not sure if she wants to do this and such. And then we come to our next song number, We Are One. And actually, Simba, the singing voice of Simba, is Cam Clark. Which, by the way, Cam Clark, most of the time voicing Simba, even when Matthew Broderick not being available. Nice to see that him being in one of these Lion King films, but as the singing voice. Yeah. Yeah, and the song number "We Are One," very good, and a real meaning to that, because everybody in the Pride Lands, and each of the animals being one of a kind, and they are one, family and such. Yeah, and even Kiara, like, we get a bit of Kiara singing as well. I believe, like, was she uncredited? I could have sworn I did see that. Kiara's singing voice, I'm not looking at it. I don't see it, but, however, apparently, because Kiara, the growls of Kiara, uncredited, were done by Ashley Edner. Okay, all right, but that's what I'm looking at. It's true, so yeah. Anyways, so then after the song number, well, because coming to the Outlands, and, well, we would see Nuka and young Vitani. Young Vitani being voiced by Lacey Chatbert, I think I'm saying her last name right, who actually, fun fact, would be the first voice for Meg Griffin in Family Guy for the pilot, but as we all know, Mila Kunis would step in. But Lacey, she's done a lot more than just that, okay? And actually, she would reprise the voice role, I should say, of Vitani for The Lion Guard. And Nuka being voiced by Andy Dick, yeah. Andy Dick, like, got a great voice for voice acting, and a lot of other great materials that he's been in. Yeah, Nuka being the oldest, and him going on saying at times that he should have been the chosen one, Scar should have handpicked him, but judging by how Nuka's personality and such, yeah, not very fit to be the chosen one and such, yeah. And obviously, yeah, Scar and Zira, each of them knew this, so yeah. And yeah, because he doesn't seem that fit to be the chosen one and to, be king and such, especially since he's always a handful, even, like, say he's, like, trying to scratch off, the termites and just, oh, these termites! And the animation to Nuka is pretty funny at times, yeah. And, with Andy Dick's voice performance, how can you not get a kick out of the character of Nuka in this, yeah. And even when, Nuka, Zira, and Vitani, we would see them again in The Lion Guard, yeah. Even Andy Dick, he would once again reprise the voice role of Nuka. And by the way, the names of Nuka and Zira and Kovu, I didn't see Vitani. Maybe, possibly, yeah, because if I do so, like, I'll put a text on that. But their names in Swahili, Zira's name in Swahili is hate. Nuka's name in Swahili is bad smell. Jeez. And Kovu's name in Swahili, is scar. Interesting. Yep, and even, like, when you look at Kovu, because how he kind of almost bears a slight resemblance to Scar. Almost. Especially since Kovu's got the same, fur color as Scar, and just about the same, like, mane color as Scar did, yeah. But anyways, so yeah, Zira being upset towards each Nuka and Kovu, because, well, Vitani telling Nuka that, setting him straight that, he was supposed to watch over Kovu, but, Kovu ran off and such. And yeah, Zira upset towards Nuka, and Kovu, telling his mother that it's not his fault, that he went off on his own, and Zira setting Kovu straight, and, what were you doing, and who has made us outsiders? Simba, who killed Scar. Simba, but actually, it wasn't really Simba that killed Scar. We all know this, of course, and maybe Zira possibly knows this, but, the movie doesn't really establish that. But yeah, and Kovu just, he thought, and as he explains to his mother Zira, that with him and Kiara, that, he thought that, maybe they could have, and Zira then saying, "Friends!" The camera close-up of Zira, just, man, really good. And then Zira starts to realize that maybe this idea that Kovu had, trying to get close and to be friends with, the king's daughter, was a good idea. What an idea! Starting to realize that, yeah, maybe this could possibly work, and with what Zira wants to do to take down Simba and to take back the Pride Lands. And, well, Zira, seen some potential for Kovu, as, how Scar saw potential to Kovu, power and being the next king of the throne and the Pride Lands and Pride Rock, yeah. And we come to our next song number, which being, That's My Lullaby, which, by the way, that was written by Joss Whedon, and it got an Annie nomination. Interesting. And pretty cool. Yeah, that's really interesting, because Joss Whedon having a little bit of involvement in Lion King 2, and well, because he wrote one of the songs, and and technically, coincidentally, because, one of them being a villain song. Yeah, nice on Joss Whedon's part. And yeah, Zira's villain song, pretty good, yeah. And Suzanne, doing the singing for Zira, pretty good, yeah. Just going on about, Kovu and, what she's going to do and to take down Simba and all that. Nuka's still feeling jealous towards his little brother and just, Kovu, what a guy, yeah. Even Kiara, not Kiara, Vitani's singing voice, again, is not credited here. I know I've seen this before, and I'm sure you have too, but yeah. Anyways, but yeah, overall, the song number, That's My Lullaby, pretty good, yeah. And, well, we come to Rafiki, and in his tree, drawing pictures of Kiara and Kovu, and speaking directly to Mufasa, that things aren't going so well in the Pride Lands and such. However, Mufasa has an idea, and explaining this to Rafiki, breaking off those two, those, whatever, I forget the name of this specific food, but, and grabbing them and, can see and looking at the drawings of Kovu and Kiara, Kovu, Kiara, together? This is the plan? And Rafiki at first thinks it's crazy, because how is this going to work? But, well, Mufasa, because he kind of gets a little upset with Rafiki, because the wind blowing around Rafiki, okay, and Rafiki then saying, I don't think this is going to work, but I trust you. I just hope you know what you are doing. And he does have a point, because let's hope that Mufasa knows what he's doing, and if this is going to work. Well, I don't think we shouldn't underestimate Mufasa, because he can see it, but Rafiki and everybody else can't. Not yet. So, yeah. So it's possible, because, well, and basically, Mufasa, if it's not obvious, Mufasa wanting to bring, everything together because, well, being one. Yeah, and hence the song earlier, We Are One. Because, the lions that are in the Outlands, and they are considered outcasts and so on, they're still lions. They are one with the lions in the Pride Lands. So there you go. And, well, time passing a little, and by this point, each Kiara and Kovu had grown up. And, well, the time has come now for Kovu to make his destination, and his destiny to avenge Scar and take his place in the Pride Lands. And, he is to come face to face with Simba and kill him. And Zira instructing Kovu, and Kovu, adult Kovu, and throughout the film, being voiced by Jason Marsden, a.k.a. the voice of Max Goof, you know, Zachary Binks and a bunch of other roles that he's been in. Just, yeah. How can you not love Jason Marsden? Yeah. So yeah, again, him voicing Kovu, and when coming to the Pride Lands, well, this is Kiara's first ever hunt, and her doing this alone, and Kiara, adult Kiara, and throughout this film, being voiced by Neve Campbell, if I'm saying her first name right. You know, best known for being in the Scream films. Yeah, that's her. Great actress, yeah. And her voice performance, you know, each Jason and Campbell voicing Kiara and Kovu, really good, just really good. What more do I have to say? And Kiara, you know, telling his, you know, her daddy that he's got to let her do this on her own and she'll be okay. And he obliges, and, you know, he's going to keep his promise on that. Or is he? Yeah. Simba just still not allowing this, and will not put up with this, and, well, turning to Timon and Pumbaa to just, you know, make sure she doesn't go that far. That's it, but still, oh, Simba. Ugh. But, yeah, Kiara trying to, you know, do her first hunt, go for some, you know, some animals and such, and when they run, and her trying to go after them, and, well, while she's doing that, and, well, we see Timon and Pumbaa, you know, kind of, you know, close to where Kiara is, and them just acting like spies, and, you know, Timon to Pumbaa, just how they say it, it's just pretty funny. Yeah, how can you not love, say, Timon and Pumbaa, and the funny stuff, the funny moments and such that they have in anything Lion King, just, yeah. But also, we come back to the Outlands, and we see Nuka and adult Vitani, and Vitani being voiced by, well, surely because she would be credited, Vitani being voiced by, seriously? Oh, wait, no, there she is, yeah, sorry. IMDb sometimes, you know, and sometimes you can miss them. Adult Vitani being voiced by Meredith Scott Lynn. Yeah, so she's the voice of Adult Vitani. We see Nuka and Adult Vitani, basically in the location where the hyenas hung out, you know, with water and steam, that location, and, well, where, you know, Scar's villainous song number, you know, Be Prepared happened. Yeah, that location. And according to Nuka, because, you know, commenting that the place is, you know, more creepy and such since the hyenas ran off. And apparently, because even I missed this the very, like, first time I watched this when I was little, that apparently, and according to Nuka, and it's established in Lion King 2, that, well, the hyenas, they're not present, obviously, and, well, they apparently ran away and left that part of Africa, so yeah. And by the way, fun fact, apparently Cheech Marin reported that he was going to reprise the voice role of Bonsai for this, but that, of course, ultimately didn't happen. I assume Bonsai was originally considered to make an appearance, and however his appearance would have turned out in Lion King 2, either way, it would have been nice to see at least one of the hyenas be in Lion King 2, but yeah. But thankfully, Cheech Marin would come back to reprise the voice role of Bonsai in the next Lion King film, and we of course know what that is. So yeah. So Nuka and Vitani, they're basically, they have twigs, and they're basically having the twigs be burned because they're going to do something, because they are aware, of course, that Kiara is out there, and, well, if it's not obvious right away, they're going to light up a fire. So, yeah, causing a bushfire and such in the Pride Lands. And when coming back to Kiara, still trying to make her hunt, and when she stumbles upon Timon and Pumbaa, because them dodging the herd of animals, almost hitting them, and when they see the sight of Kiara, ah! And Timon addressing Kiara that they're out here just shopping. But Kiara, yeah, that's gonna work. No, Kiara gets it, and just how upset she is towards her father not keeping her promise, and yeah, and Kiara just running off. And sure enough, well, because when we once again see Nuka and Vitani, well, them lighting up fire and such in the grass, and yeah, starting a huge fire in the Pride Lands, and a funny moment with Nuka, because he's really digging it, burning up the grass and such in the Pride Lands, and hey, is it hot in here, or is it just me? And like, part of his tail is caught on fire. Yeah. And yeah, with the fire getting worse and worse, the animals fleeing, and, well, yeah, Kiara being in that situation too. And Simba, coming back to Pride Rock, Simba just pacing and still worried about his daughter, and Zazu assuring Simba that everything will be okay, and, what could happen? And it doesn't take too long for Simba to realize that, well, smoke is rising, and yeah, a fire is happening in the Pride Lands, and Ish is pretty sure that, yeah, well, Kiara being there, and she more than likely is going to be in danger, and yeah. And when coming back to Kiara, we see her struggling and trying to get out of there, and even when she climbed up at one point, and, well, she then passed out, and Kovu stepping in and looking very sinister and evil and such, like, geez, and with, his eyes glowing, that kind of thing. And, well, we see Kovu carrying and saving the passed out body of Kiara, best way to put it, and just, trying to dodge and go through the, burning branches and such, and when ultimately they tumble and they land in a river and such. And even Zazu flying over and seeing this, and, he must alert Simba. And, well, Kiara, she's okay, of course, and, realizing that she's been saved, but, just kind of not happy, especially with, whom saved her. And when she then starts to realize that it's Kovu, and Kovu growing up, and when Kovu realizes, too, that it's Kiara, yeah. And Simba stepping in, and, well, because not happy towards Kiara, and, not happy with, whom Kiara's with, but little does he know at first, and, well, when he realizes, and Kovu's name is mentioned, yeah, and then Rafiki stepping in and shouting at Kovu, hey you, how dare you save the king's daughter? Well, yeah, because that, basically, Simba finding out that, yeah, Kovu had saved Kiara, and why exactly? Well, Kovu humbly asks Simba to be a part of the Pride Lands, but no, he's rejected at first because, well, Kovu being an outsider, but Kovu addressing Simba that he had left and deserted the Outlands, and setting Simba straight that if he is to be blamed for a crime that he did not commit and so on, Simba, because he's not sure about this, but with Nala being there, and Zazu just telling Simba that, that they should accept him for what he's done and, give him a chance. Well, Simba, he technically does the right thing doing so, but little does Simba know and everybody else what Kovu's going to do. Simba telling Kovu that, at a certain point, we'll know who you are, what he says. And Zazu, even though, because, with each him and Nala telling him that, they should bring Kovu in, Zazu, he too is not happy with this idea and even calling Kovu a riffraff. And even when Simba at first forbid Kovu to go inside of Pride Rock, because, being the main lion and watching over the lions and such, yeah, the alpha male, just, the alpha of the pack, so yeah. And Kiara and Kovu, the little interactions that they have, and right before bedtime, just, yeah, kind of like teasing each other just a little bit, but yeah. And well, Nuka and Zira, they were watching over and spying on what was going on, and, well, Nuka's just like, did you see that? He let her go! If that were me, and Zira addressing Nuka about what will happen and the closer that Kovu gets, and when the time comes to, attack and kill Simba. Yeah. And well, there's one moment where, we see Simba having a nightmare, and well, basically, he's dreaming about the events that happened in the first Lion King film, when the wildebeest stampede happened, and his father struggling, and, well, Mufasa, once again, being voiced by the late legendary James Earl Jones, and we get a little bit of Scar in this. Not Jeremy Irons, but, instead, it's Jim Cummings. And why is he credited, like, archive sound? I would think Jim Cummings would have recorded fresh new dialogue for this, right? It's obvious. Yeah, so Scar stopping Simba from saving Mufasa, trust me, and, well, Mufasa falling to his death, and, when we think it's Scar, well, actually no, because he morphs into Kovu with a scar, and Kovu letting Simba go and falling to his death. And looking at the wildebeest in that nightmare, you can see in with the eyes, the very menacing and such. Well, that's not exactly what happened, and Simba shouldn't think of that towards the wildebeest, right? Come on. But yeah, it was all a nightmare. But if possibly, this nightmare that Simba had could happen. Because yeah, Kovu's first attempt to try to kill Simba not going as planned, especially with Kiara stepping in, interrupting the whole thing. And, well, because yeah, the moments that Kovu and Kiara have, and Kovu just kind of, getting irritated and such with Kiara. Yeah, just pretty funny, and how he's missing his chance to try and attack and kill Simba. And even when, because they do a bit of, like, hunting, well, just, Kovu showing Kiara the way of just, stretching out, your legs and your paws and just then going for the attack and going for your victim, that whole thing, and accidentally going for Timon and just, don't eat me, Scar, oh, a great guy, just, yeah. And yeah, Timon and Pumbaa being there, and this time they're not keeping an eye and watching over Kiara, because what they're doing, actually, because they're dealing with these birds, and this has to do with grubs, because the birds going after the bugs and not them, just, it's obvious, and, getting the birds to shoo, and just, shoo, shoo, and one bird, like, pecking, Timon's nose, haven't we all had those moments where we would accidentally hit our noses? I've technically been there, just, yeah, and how sometimes red it would be. Oh, man, you could feel the pain right there. But yeah, them scaring off the birds, and it's a pretty funny sequence. And when it comes to Pumbaa being the first suggesting to Timon that maybe Kovu can help out with their situation, and Timon is just like, oh, please, but hey, I've got an idea. Why don't he help us? Same thing that happened in the first Lion King film, where Timon thought of the same idea as Pumbaa. But yeah, asking Kovu to, lend a roar, grrr, come on, work with me, and Kiara telling Kovu like this, and, well, roaring and, basically getting the birds to fly, and Kovu doing it as well, and, then they all start to run, and Kovu, like, asking Kiara, like, what's the point of this? What's the point of this training, and so on, and yeah, because the whole thing of Kiara and Kovu doing some training, but Kiara establishing Kovu that this is not training, it's just pure fun. And how Kovu starts to get into it, and even like Timon, saying yeehaw, and yeah, everybody, they're all getting into it, especially Kovu. But then they stumble upon a herd of rhinos and with the birds, and and the birds just, and the rhinos, they are, pissed off and just, yeah, about to charge them, and they're out of there. Just, yeah. Hey, rhino, says Timon, just, yeah, making a turn, and yeah, but thankfully they hid, and the rhinos, they passed by. It's so funny. And them trying to squeeze out of that little tiny cave, whatever, the rocks, and Kovu and Kiara accidentally kissing one another. Yeah. And a little later, Kovu and Kiara, the more time they spend, and they have a good time now. And, well, they are watching and pointing at some stars, and it looks like this, that, and that, you know. And even a mentioning of, like, say, Mufasa and Kovu, mentioning if, you know, do you think Scar might be up there? And, yeah. And then Kovu telling Kiara that, well, yeah, because, and as I said earlier, because Scar was never really Kovu's father, biologically, but, you know, something about Scar that Kovu missed, and, you know, Scar being father-like to Kovu and such, because, you know, he never had a father, so, yeah, it's understandable, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but, you know, everything's starting to hit off pretty well with Kiara and Kovu, and Simba is technically, yeah, watching over them, and, you know, and he's speaking to his father, Mufasa, because he doesn't know what he's going to do, and with this situation, you know, and Nala's stepping in, and the conversations that they have, just, yeah. And a little later, and to speed things up, well, because the more time that Kovu and Kiara spend, well, out pops, out of nowhere, Rafiki, yeah, and well, technically Kovu already met Rafiki earlier, but not properly. So yeah, and Kiara telling Kovu that Rafiki is a friend of the family. Well, yeah, definitely. So how very close he is to the lions and to Pride Rock, and yeah, we know, of course. And, well, obviously we can tell, because Rafiki helping out with Mufasa's plan to get Kovu and Kiara together with Upendi, you know, in Upendi. I think I am pronouncing that right. And yeah, we come to our next song number. And by the way, can't forget to mention, Rafiki, once again, being voiced by the late Robert Guillem. If I might be still mispronouncing his name, but you know, of course, who it is, yeah. Yeah, the song number that Rafiki has, pretty good, and a good meaning to that song, you know, because about love and being together and stuff like that, you know, Upendi and such, and seeing a bunch of, you know, colorful animals, almost like, say, how it was in the I Can't Wait to Be King song, with all the animals coming together, dancing and singing along, just like in this, you know, and paradise that they come to, maybe it's the same location where Timon and Pumbaa were, the Hakuna Matata location, I presume? Maybe, I don't know, it almost looks like it, and if it's not, why would it not be? So yeah, that's pretty much the only location in The Lion King that we know so well, that it's pretty much a paradise, you know? A peaceful location, you know, that whole thing. But yeah, just overall, the song number in Upendi, it's really good, and it's really catchy. I think it's probably one of my, few favorite songs. Well, okay, let me assure you, the songs in Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, they're all really good. I've enjoyed them, but I really think, yeah, because Inupendi would be one of my favorites, but yeah. And yeah, because everything's really going great for Kiara and Kovu, especially Kovu, because now he's no longer wanting to attack and kill Simba and just forget everything, and just, yeah, nice to see. And well, because a little later and after that, and even, yeah, when the song number finished, they were making their way back to Pride Rock, and Kovu just couldn't stop but just sing that song, you know, just, yeah, and them laughing. I like that moment right there, just, yeah. And when they come back to Pride Rock, well, Simba can see now that Kovu is really starting to do pretty good, and for whom he now is becoming, yeah. And even now, allowing and accepting Kovu to come inside of Pride Rock, yeah, and to be with all the other lions. And just so happens that nearby, Vitani is there, spying and watching on Kovu and what he does, and hoping that Kovu is going to go after and attack and kill Simba. But he doesn't, and Vitani just like, you know, what are you waiting for, Kovu? Get him! And because he doesn't do this, well, yeah, Vitani going back and reporting this to her mother on what Vitani witnessed, and, yeah, Zira being upset about this, and, you know, saying that Kovu can't betray us. Well, too bad, Zira, because, sorry, yeah, didn't go as planned, now did it. And then the next day, well, when it seemed like Kiara and Kovu were gonna have, another day together and such, well, not this time. Simba actually wants to spend some time with Kovu, and yeah, I know, even the nostalgia critic talked about this. I don't know, I never took it that way, even the first time I watched it, okay? The look that Simba has and when looking at Kovu, no, I don't think so. Just the way I see it, obviously, and I'm sure you would too. Simba, by this point, again, and as I just said, he's very impressed on how Kovu has evolved and whom he has become, and, well, by this point, knowing who Kovu is. And as Simba said earlier, will know who you are, and it seems like by that point, yeah. So, Simba, having some talk with Kovu, and when they're almost, I want to say, near the Outlands. Well, actually, no, because they're really at the location, where part of the Pride Lands were burned, yeah. And talking about life and, because life regrowing and such, that whole thing, and, soil and finding a piece of grass or plant, and a plant growing, that whole thing. But all that is interrupted when Zira and the other outcast lions emerge, and they are ambushed, yeah, because they are surrounded, and Zira pointing out to Kovu, well done, Kovu, just as we planned, and Simba, because feeling that Kovu was responsible for this, which, not anymore, no, because by that point, Kovu having really no part of this, no. Even though he technically was, but still, we get the point, yeah. And yeah, because all of the outcast lions going for the attack/kill on Simba, even Kovu tried to help out, but unfortunately he got knocked out, and making a run for it, and we come up to one location where the logs are, yeah, the tree trunks and such, and Simba trying to make an escape. Kovu actually, well, he's trying to help out Simba, and shouting out to Simba to, to get up here and such. Yeah, so Simba should know that, yeah, Kovu's helping him. He is. And well, at one point, Nuka goes for the attack, going after Simba. I'll do it for you, mother! Mother, are you watching me? For this time, and for once, trying to make a good impression on his mother, yeah. Because, how poorly Zira was treating Nuka, and, yeah, it's Nuka's chance, and, well, when grabbing a hold of Simba's leg, and this is my chance of glory, and, well, Nuka loses his chance when, yeah, he slips and falls, and, yeah, the tree trunks and such coming on top of him, and just, yeah. And by that point, yeah, Simba, he had escaped. Kovu didn't tag along with Simba, well, because we see Kovu trying to, remove the tree logs and such, and, to find and save Nuka, and, well, we see Nuka, and he's paralyzed, and just, he doesn't look too good, and, well, Nuka, apologizing to his mother, and, that he tried, and there, if you've seen the deleted scenes of The Lion King 2, this one, well, I don't know, I mean, I guess it would have been okay if this was added in, but I don't know. Where Nuka, one of his last words in this deleted scene, at least I got your attention. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it would have worked out, I guess, if it was in the final film, but I don't know. But, yeah, sadly, Kovu, he dies. That's a shame, yeah. And, yeah, because seeing Zira and Vitani and the other outcast lions feeling so sad for the loss of Nuka, and when coming back to the Pride Lands, Simba not looking too good, he's wounded, and went through so much, and just so happens Kiara, Timon, and Pumbaa, and Zazu are there. Kiara having Zazu go inform the others, while Kiara, Timon, and Pumbaa attend to Simba's aid, and Simba, explaining to them about Kovu, betraying and such, and yeah, Kiara she just finds this impossible, just saying, no, this is impossible. Why? And a nice moment where, because, Timon and Pumbaa, they help out Simba and carry him back to Pride Rock. And when coming back to Zira, because Zira, speaking directly to Scar, watch over and, take care of my Nuka. And she turns to Kovu, blaming this on Kovu, and, scratching part of his face, giving him a scar in the exact same spot, where Scar's scar was. Yeah. And just like what we saw in Simba's nightmare, Kovu having a scar, now in reality, he does. Exactly as how his your non-biological father had. And Kovu, just setting his mother straight that he had nothing to do with this, not anymore. And Zira just pinning this on him, and even the last thing she says to him before he runs off, "You've killed your own brother!" "No," says Kovu as he runs away. Zira telling the others just let him go. And, Zira and the other lion outcasts, they are soon about to go for the attack, invading the Pride Lands and attacking Simba and the others. They're this close to going for the battle / the attack, And when coming back to Pride Rock, because Simba is doing okay now, and all of the African animals are there at Pride Rock, and they all see that Kovu is making his way, and, Kovu trying to assure Simba that he had nothing to do with this, but Simba having no part of this whatsoever. And a funny moment where Timon and Pumbaa, because Timon especially, because, come on, let me at him, and asking Pumbaa to hold his tail, and, come on, let me at him, okay, and letting go of his tail, and, Pumbaa, you're missing the point of this, and, because, we get what he wants Pumbaa to do, and by holding his tail. But it just gets out of hand, and this is where things go downhill, and, Simba addressing Kovu, because, when you first came here, you asked for judgment, and I pass it now, how he says it, and exile! And, Kovu has now been exiled from the Pride Lands. And we come to our next song number, Not One of Us. All of the African animals of the Pride Lands coming together and singing the song, and, the lyrics to it, deception, disgraceful, disgrace. And, because you can imagine, and even when, right as the song number finishes, and seeing some of the characters in the sky from, a giraffe, not a giraffe, a zebra, and Kiara and Simba, and when the camera pans away, backs up a little, we see Rafiki watching as Kovu, leaves, and Rafiki feeling sad about this, because it didn't go according to plan with what Mufasa wanted. I'm pretty sure, because we could imagine how upset Mufasa would be towards his son. Because, again, like I said earlier, Simba at times in this movie, and not to sound harsh on Simba, like I said, there are some good moments with Simba in Lion King 2, but man, most of the time, he is taking things too far, especially when he exiled Kovu, So, again, you can imagine how Mufasa would feel towards this, and not what Mufasa would have wanted, and what he would have wanted his son to do. And, Kiara just trying to tell her father that, Kovu is not who he thinks he is, and, who he thinks he is, and, Simba telling Kiara, thinking the opposite, he was using you. No, he loves me, and just, I know he's following in Scar's paw prints, and I must follow in my father's. And, Kiara had a point when she said this to her father, that you will never be Mufasa. And she's not wrong, technically, because Mufasa was Mufasa. Simba is who he is. And, he can't really be like his father. And, technically, he's not doing his job right as being the king of the Pride Lands as his late father was. No siree, no siree. And I'm sure you guys would agree too. Yeah. So Kiara just running inside of Pride Rock, feeling so upset, when at one point she actually sneaks away and leaves Pride Rock, trying to search for Kovu. And, one of the next song numbers that we have, which being, because in a perfect world, love will find a way. It's a nice love song, very emotional and such. And presuming, because, each Kiara and Kovu, they're singing in their heads, presumably. And, when Kiara has seen a bunch of other animals in the Pride Lands in the evening time, just in love, and she's not with Kovu, but ultimately, when she does find Kovu, and they are reunited once again, and and as the song goes, love will find a way, and especially for them, So, them being reunited, and they even, see in a reflecting pool, their reflections, half of Kovu and half of Kiara, just, But with that out of the way after that, because, sure enough, we see Zira and the lion outcasts start to make their way into the Pride Lands, preparing to battle Simba and the other lions of the Pride Lands. And a storm approaches, and it's raining, and, back at Pride Rock, Timon and Pumbaa start to argue and fight with one another because they were supposed to keep watch on Kiara, and Simba is wondering what they're doing, and, Timon finding it difficult to put it at words when he finally tells Simba, about Kiara vanishing, and, Kiara's gone, and all that is interrupted when Zazu shows up to alert Simba that the outcasts have made their way into the Pride Lands, and it's war! And Simba telling Zazu to go try to search for Kiara, while Simba and everybody else, they have to deal and prepare for battle towards the outcasts, which being Zira and the lions. And they all come together, and even Timon and Pumbaa, because when they step in, just nanny, 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 shaking their booties. It's true. And Zira just, it's over, Simba, and even Timon, making a comment at one point, boy, does she need a hobby? It's nice because sometimes, say, in Disney films like this, in these, when we're at, serious moments, we would, have a few funny moments. And in this case with Timon and Pumbaa in The Lion King 2. And as long as they're done right. And I think, it was done right in this, And Simba telling Zira to just, go home, but Zira, in response, I am home, and just with that stare, and as lightning strikes, and then Zira saying, attack, and how they are slowly just approaching one another, and how they then start to run, that was so cool. And the music that plays, and seeing each of the lions, brutally fighting one another, and Zira telling each of them, go for the jaw, go for the neck, and just, oh my gosh. And we then see Kiara and Kovu, because they start to realize that, trouble is happening in the Pride Lands, and them dashing as fast as they can back to the Pride Lands and where they're at, and when they see the battle happening, just, and even, a little fight between, say, Vitani and Nala, Vitani, saying to Nala, where's your pretty little daughter now, Nala? And Timon and Pumbaa, because what they do, because they do try to join in the battle, but they start to run away when one of the lion outcasts roars at them, and when they are cornered at a rock, Pumbaa, behind his back, just... and, Timon, noticing Pumbaa's tail and just don't anybody move. This thing is loaded. I'll let you have it. Obviously referring to Pumbaa letting out a huge you-know-what. It's so obvious. And, the lion outcasts, they scream and they run away. It was so funny. And Timon just very pleased with it and, works every time. And how more intenseful the battle is getting. And when it comes to a confrontation between Zira and Simba, and they're about to strike at one another with each of their paws, but sure enough, just in time, Kiara and Kovu step in. Kovu stopping his mother, and Kiara stopping her father. That, yeah, this battle should not be happening, and they'll do whatever it takes for this to end. And Kovu telling his mother Zira that you will not hurt Simba or Kiara, not while I'm here. And Kiara telling Simba that a wise king once told me, we are one. And Simba starting to realize this, and ultimately, yeah, Simba realizing that this shouldn't be happening, and Kiara telling Simba to just look at them. They are us. And yeah, they're all lions. The lions that were outcast, they are still family. They're the same. And, well, sure enough, the storm goes away and the sun peaks, and yeah, ultimately Simba, he realizes that it was a stupid mistake and just realized that this shouldn't be happening at all. And yeah, but for Zira, she's not, she's still gonna go for the attack, just having them to attack Simba and the other lions, but Vitani and all the other lion outcasts, they don't do anything. They just, well, they realize that they shouldn't be doing this, and, well, they join the other lions, except for Zira. She doesn't let go of the past. Well, Simba, telling Zira to just give it up and let go of the past, and Zira refusing and, I'll never let it go. And with how much she loves and respects and following the loyalties of Scar, just, yeah, not letting that go. At least we have to have someone who does not give in and will just not turn to the good side, and, well, that obviously being Zira. And, well, because of the storm, we see, those, like, tree, logs and such, and it's basically, like, there's like a dam and such, and it's starting to break, the water going through those trees and such. And Zira, well, we see in her eyes, because, again, more close-up shots with Zira, and, well, because Zira saying, this is for you, Scar, and she was about to go and attack/kill Simba, but Kiara getting in the way, stopping Zira, and they both start to tumble down, and right as the river is about to emerge, breaking those tree logs, and Simba trying to, go after and save Kiara, and Nala noticing the river, alerting Simba, and yeah, Kiara's fine, but Zira is holding on for her life, and Kiara, she was willing to save and help Zira from not falling to her death into the river. And another deleted scene right here, and maybe some of you know this. I don't think it would have mattered, like, if they had, whether if they kept this in or not, which, yeah, ultimately it was not in the final film, but an alternate death sequence for Zira, where, yeah, she still falls into the river and dies. However, because the last lines that she has, and staring directly at Kiara, telling Zira to give her paw and, I'll help you. Well, Zira looking dead, dead in the eyes of Kiara, just like, and then, her saying, no, never. And she lets go. She basically basically commits suicide, pretty much. And golly, that being dark. But in the final film, it's basically her just, not able to hold on and slipping and, yeah, falling and her screaming. Yeah. Because I was, obviously, when I first watched Lion King 2, I was not aware of the alternate, scene of Zira's death, her committing suicide. Again, I don't know, because maybe they would have included it or not. Come on. Who says that Disney has never had moments where they've done dark moments and such, right? So, I don't know, but look, I guess I get it and I understand why they didn't include it, but man, I tell you, that was pretty dark and pretty good at the same time, don't you think? But yeah. But yeah, ultimately, yes. Zira, she falls to her death into the river, and yeah, and the river's starting to drain out, and well, we get one shot of Kovu just, feeling sad for the loss of his mother, even though, it's understandable, even though, Kovu's mother was evil and such and didn't change her ways still. It's understandable, feeling sad for the loss of a parent, and in this case for Kovu, yeah. But in the end, all is as it should be for the Pride Lands. The lions who were once outcasts are now a part of the Pride Lands once and for all. And yeah, the epilogue to Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, well, all of them coming together. And, well, Kovu, of course, as of now, being accepted as being one of them, as well as the other lions who were once outcasts. And one more funny moment with Timon and Pumbaa, them going on about love and them crying. Even, I think both of them, but especially Pumbaa, snot bubbles. Oh my gosh. Even Zazu's right next to them and just, covering himself from their tears. Just, yeah, that's funny. And, well, Simba, Nala, Kovu, and Kiara, all four of them joining in, roaring, and all the animals of the Pride Lands chanting and such, and all the other lions roaring as well. And, well, Mufasa, we hear his voice, once again, being James Earl Jones, and, saying, "Well done, my son." Yep, this time, and at the end, he is very proud of what his son has done. Yeah, doing the right thing, and even, Rafiki, one last shot of Rafiki just, nodding at Mufasa, because, yeah, and... yeah, just like in the first Lion King film, Mufasa getting the last line, and well, as the camera pans out and getting a nice shot of Pride Rock, we hear Mufasa saying, "We are one." And boom, the end, and what a great way to end off Lion King 2, Simba's Pride right there. And, the end credits and, well, getting a pop version of Love Will Find a Way. Not bad, yeah. But, yeah, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, a pretty good Lion King film, and for this being the first Lion King sequel. The story to Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, really good, from beginning to end. The characters, new faces that we see, the songs in Lion King 2, really good. And, the funny moments and the emotional moments, yeah. Of course, when it comes to the Lion King, always have to have some good, funny moments, and especially those emotional, heart-wrenching moments, and yeah. Lion King 2 did a good job at that, for sure, yeah. And the animation, really good, and, with what goes on in Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, a whole Romeo and Juliet thing that happens, did pretty good at that, yeah. And, the music and score, pretty good. And that's another thing, because, the first times watching Lion King 2, I really wasn't into the music in Lion King 2. Because, again, a whole different vibe and feel to Lion King 2 than, say, the first Lion King film. It's understandable, but, I think as of now, and the more I've seen it, the music and score in Lion King 2, it's grown on me, and it's really good. I won't deny it's really good, yeah. The African, music, vibe, feel, to the music and score, you get my point, really good. Just, yeah. Overall, Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, a really good Lion King film, and again, for this being the first Lion King sequel. And I'm giving Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, why not? I'm giving it 7 out of 10 stars. Yes, 7 out of 10 stars for Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. And what about you guys? what did you think of Lion King 2, Simba's Pride itself? Is it one of your favorite Lion King films, you know, one of your favorite sequels, and one of your favorite direct-to-video slash DVD Disney film sequels? You know, what were some of your favorite moments, favorite songs that were in Lion King 2? And with Lion King 2's main antagonist, Zira, and with, you know, Nuka, Vitani, Kovu, Kiara. And what are some of your fondest memories of, you know, having a DVD copy, checking out the bonus features, you know, and not just that, but, you know, all of the Lion King DVDs that you had, just like me, you know, your fondest memories of those and such, yeah. But yeah, just overall, what do you think of Lion King 2 itself, and with what I've had to say, my review, and yeah, what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. More review videos are coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / review. And, well, of course, continuing on with the Lion King movie week, and you know what's next, of course, yeah. Stay tuned for my review of The Lion King 1.5. Take care, and peace out. Hakuna Matata.